IVM.
कृपया ध्यान दीजिए, the language used on the podcast may not be fit for consumption. We warn you, tread carefully. But listen, yaar, don't be so conservative. Okay, the broadcast is live. I'm just reading from a teleprompter. But I want to tell you people that this is a special cock and bull extra because the guest was washed out by rain last minute. She came down to the bottom of the building and then, the rain just attacked her. Last scene, she was in Borivali and screaming, help, help. And of course, nobody bothered. Because in India, when it's raining, we tend to stay home and say all the best to whoever's out. But I'm doing this under a lot of pressure because I've just discovered a pimple right here. I don't know if you can see it. And that's been very painful from the morning. I called up Amit, I called up Silverie. I said, can I avoid today's show? They said, no, just grin and bear it. So I've taken Combi Flam. I've done what I can. And I'm here because we are warriors and we will deliver no matter what the pain. All right. The other thing is, of course, I'm younger than I think. I don't think I'm actually 49 because you cannot have this kind of... The only reason for getting this kind of skin issue at my age is really, really bad hygiene or the fact that your adolescence has continued from the age of 13, 14 and not stopped yet. And I think it's the latter because I'm pretty clean. I wish I could show you, but I've been told to keep the shirt on. So clean as a whistle. Speaking of whistles, it's time for me to blow mine.
We live in an age of disruption, of immense change in every aspect of work, life, and business. But is the old way of doing things truly dead? And are we ever going to stop saying the new normal? Join me, Varun Dugirala, on Advertising is Dead every Tuesday as I talk to entrepreneurs, leaders, creators, and change makers from across business, media, marketing, and beyond to dig a little deeper into how we got here, what we're doing now, and where we're headed. You can catch all the episodes of Advertising is Dead on the IVM Podcast website, app, or wherever you get your podcast from.
Oh, we have only two guests today. This is one of those real low budget shows. My favorite, by the way.
The no guest.
Amit, I'm back in your house, by the way. Thanks for letting me in. Yeah.
Yes.
But I must tell you, your help, I don't like the word servant. I've struck it off my world list forever. Your help,
Yes.
or the man who helps you, who's dressed exactly like me in short pants and a tight t-shirt. Yeah, that's really, you open the door, it's like, brother. Well, he always hesitates before letting me in. Please don't shout at him. But it's like a 1 second hesitation. It's almost like he's saying, if I had a choice, but this is like my fifth or sixth time. I would think after 5 or 6, I'm very good with darbans and guys at the dawn or normally. I become friends with them if I go to the same place again and again. So I was, what do you think the reason is? Almost like racism.
I don't know what to say here. I'm a little surprised. He's actually normally pretty good with letting people into the house.
He let me in, but he just hesitates for half a second. It's just a beat. He opens the door and he goes like this. And then he lets me in.
Okay.
But that beat is like, why? It's not like a gorilla's come in.
Can I tell you what it might be? It might just be that we're surprised when the doorbell rings these days.
Because you're...
just like naturally, right? Like the doorbell rings, like, wait, who the fuck is coming to my house right now, right? Because it's just, that frequency of like visitor to the house is so low compared to what it used to be that I think maybe that's it. Because like right now, we were sitting right before we started recording, and somebody we have a part-time guy who comes to help with some of the cleaning stuff, right? So he rang the bell, and both of us looked at each other like, who came now?
That's true,
right? Because it's just you're not used to it.
But Silverie, I think what Amit is also saying is that he's, and this happens to a lot of people around the world, he's enjoying the solo culture. He's benefiting from it in such a way that he's conditioned now to enjoy it more. At the back is the gentleman and the aforementioned gentleman as well. The tighter t-shirt is the guy who disrespects me, and the one who went off first is the guy with limited liability in the house. He comes, he goes on all fours, he pretends to clean, and then he left. But his work was like mine, it was just fast and furious, but signifying nothing, to quote Macbeth badly. Yeah. But I won't criticize these people. At least they actually do work, unlike some of us. Before we go further, I was discussing yesterday, which we didn't have time to. I had a fight with my daughter over this because I said, you have to say, I think, Silverie, you said, thanks, Maya. And then she said, whatever. And, so you can't talk like that. You can't be antisocial. And she gave me a rant about the difference between asocial and antisocial. So I'm asocial. I'm not antisocial. Antisocial is when you break things and get violent and misbehave and obnoxious and whatever. And asocial is when you do not want to interact with other people. So I was like, wow.
Could she even hear Antariksh? You're wearing the headphones.
No, she didn't hear because I had the thing. So I just told her, Antariksh, just saying thank you. Thank you, Maya.
Okay.
So you should just say welcome or just acknowledge it with a head or whatever. And she says, this teenagers, not just whatever.
Yeah.
It's not like she was being mean to him. This is the way they talk. It's not really personal.
I think Antariksh is probably used to whatever's. I mean, like,
Yeah.
it seems strange. I don't know what to say. I'm a little surprised.
So I just said, look, now these are, now you know these people relatively well now. I
Yeah.
know we don't meet physically, but this is as good as it gets. You could just acknowledge, don't be mean.
Yeah.
It's like people start thinking you're antisocial and it's bad parenting then and all. We're not antisocial. And give me a huge lecture like antisocial means, the guy who, let me discuss, the guy who wants to, the racist guy in the bar who
Yeah.
misbehaves and all. That's antisocial.
Yeah.
Asocial is almost like being shy and withdrawn, and you don't want to interact or interject in a conversation. You're that person. You want to, just stay away. That's asocial. That's her point. I don't know.
Cool. I can see that. I can see.
So I lost my argument
No, but I
because
don't
I said the
think.
wrong word. Then I didn't feel like saying, okay, don't be
I don't
asocial.
think Maya is either antisocial or asocial.
She would
Again,
never do it on his face. She didn't
yeah.
realize that I would tell him, right? Because it's on this. So she wouldn't do it on his face. That's obnoxious. That to me is antisocial.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah.
She's saying it to me like whatevs, and she walks off.
Yeah.
But I'm like telling him because of the casual, because they do this. You don't have kids, man. They're so casual in their demeanor. It's irritating after some time. Like, Mikhail, what time are you leaving? He was going to Alibag with 3 friends. Now in this lockdown, are they allowed, not allowed, on their own, blah blah. So just don't tell us. I don't know. In the morning, whatever, what time. The answers are ridiculous. I want them to be caught by terrorists and interrogated. I want to see if they can do better. This is, I'll shut up. Mikhail, tell us everything about your life. Whatevs, Gov. Oh, by the way, they watch these podcasts by these North England guys. So he's now got this entire, North England meets Malba Hill meets Indian guy. God, it's horrible.
Also known as the cathedral accent.
It is all that. So suddenly it's like, okay, lads, what's the plan? Huh? All right, Gov, see you later. I'm like, no. How mixed up are we, man? How fucked up are we? Urban Indians, English speaking elite, the worst. Yeah, so it's all over the place.
Sorry, but back to antisocial versus asocial, right? I mean, like,
Yeah.
I find that interesting, right? I don't think I don't think Maya is either antisocial or asocial, right? I met her a number of times. She's always like, perfectly nice. She doesn't like to talk, right? So she's not like gregarious.
No, she loves to talk.
But
She just needs to be comfortable with the person.
Yeah.
By nature, she's quite extroverted also. But
Okay.
they in the house they behave like that. With their friends, they're different. You know how it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she went to Kunal's house for a sleepover. His niece came over to eat lunch, and she said, "Can I stay in the room primarily after saying hi?"
Okay.
Which is asocial. As against another person who you
Yeah.
don't meet enough people during this time. You say, okay, some new person has come. It's just novelty of meeting a new person to kill time. I would. Honestly, I'm a bit of a parasite like that. I would be a
Yeah.
new person. Let's attack. Interesting. It's like the podcast.
So, I mean, like, is asocial the person who basically goes and reads a book in the room when they have guests at home?
Yeah. It's passive.
That's the
It's
asocial.
passive antisocial
Okay.
in a sense.
All right.
Yeah.
Fair.
Exactly that. Or they don't take part in the conversation. You know people like that. They're just withdrawing more and more, while we are jumping up and down because we like company, and some people just they go in more.
Is it a permanent condition? Because I feel like I am often asocial if that is the criteria for asocial, but I'm not always asocial.
But I have to see you in a social setting now where we don't really see you anymore.
Hmm.
We're only doing this in a work setting where you're very much, this is your got to execute work and all. This is your different guy.
Yeah, that's true.
I have to see you because in a room, and if they are not very well known to you, how are you then? That'll be the test. So we'll organize an orgy for you.
Okay.
I know your house.
Yes.
I'm going to send 10 lady boys from Thailand who I've been in touch with. Don't ask me why, because I'm not asocial. And you tell me how it's gone. And remember, no touching, just conversation. Huh? What you want? I want this. It's like that. All right.
Okay.
And be careful on the line of racial disharmony now. I don't want to cross that. Or sexual disharmony because, is ladyboy allowed, by the way? Got to keep checking.
I am not sure.
But that's what they call themselves.
It is, but I'm not sure if it is.
Just say whatever, Amit. Like, yeah, whatever's fine.
No. Whatevs.
Whatevs is the best. And there's a hand gesture, by the way. Yeah? Guys, if you have teenage friends, there's a whatevs with a dismiss. You're dismissed. Whatevs. Yeah. All right. Okay. Wasted enough time on that one. Let's move on.
Yes.
All right.
Silverie, are you antisocial?
I'm okay.
You're not anti. You're very social.
I'm all right.
I don't think so. No, I feel like you're very social, like in the sense that you're
He likes company.
yeah, you talk to people a lot.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, like you
Okay, I'll reduce that, Amit.
you don't need to reduce. I'm
I'm
just saying that
sorry,
you
I'm
enjoy talking to people,
Yeah.
right? I mean, like at least that's what I feel.
Yeah,
Okay, it's been like a year since we've been in the same office, but I mean, like I remember back then thinking that Antariksh seems to get along with everybody.
yeah, that's true. I get along with most people.
Yeah.
But there are days when I talk less. That's there. Like so It's normal, I guess, for most people.
Also, if you're naked with your friends, how do you behave? Are you still comfortable? That's a good test.
Yeah, we're all hugging and all. Yeah, exactly. We're all hugging and comparing
No
sizes and all that.
pointing, no
Yeah, it's all good.
ramifications, no notes being made in the side. Rupa thinks you're very. Oh God, yeah. But there's another thing here. When you meet strangers, for example, when you're on a plane or a train or a bus or whatever, do you interact?
In a bus? No.
No, I'm saying two perfect strangers, especially on plane rides for me. I've noticed you sit and then you say hello. And after you say hello, do you talk sometimes or not? Or do you try not to talk?
Very rarely. Unless there's like a common moment that happens, like where both of you notice something and then you like look at each other like, oh, that was weird, right? And then you start talking after that.
I only talk to.
If you don't want to break his privacy is different from you wanting to not engage. That's the asocial pattern is when you don't want to engage whatever happens. You try your best to make eye contact.
So tell me how I fall in this category. Then I do not want to talk to anybody until the plane lands. After the plane lands, I'll talk because then there's like a set limit. Otherwise, you start at the start of a flight, you might be stuck talking to somebody for 4 hours.
Yeah,
That's true.
you've thought
That's
it through.
Yeah.
But I think you've got partial asocial qualities for sure.
Okay.
Where you definitely want your privacy. You want your little bubble for some time, and it's not worth risking that for a 5-minute conversation which you wouldn't have minded.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind a 5-minute conversation exactly, but if a 5-minute conversation turns into a non-stop 2-hour, let me tell you about all the problems in my life and what's going on, and I'm an ex-alcoholic and all the rest of that shit. And I mean, like that's actually happened, right?
And then,
I was on a flight back from the US, and somebody started. He was drinking, and he just kept telling me about like how I'm drinking too much. I'm like, dude, what the fuck, right?
that's a flight from the US. That's a flight from hell then, because then you
Yeah.
can't shut it at all. It doesn't end.
It did end because it was like with a stopover in the middle, right? But
8 hours of the guy.
yeah, it was a bit much. Well, so it wasn't 8 hours again. There was a sleeping time, and so I slept, but it was an hour and a half at the start. An hour.
Is this where you pulled out all your hair?
Huh?
Is this where you pulled out all your hair and aggression of?
I think it would be around the same time. I lost my hair when I was 20. This was around then.
Yeah, I'm telling you honestly, we're joking about it, but it's a horrible thing. If you don't want to engage and you suddenly have a conversation forced on you, it's like real torture.
Yeah.
I can understand totally. But remember, there are also those people who just love to company, even whoever the hell it is, and just keep talking. So,
Do you guys ever wonder what personality types you are? Like all that ENFP, INFP. You guys know what I mean?
That stuff's been like highly discredited.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, no, it's been very discredited in the sense that see, the fact is human behavior is complex, and to kind of break it down into a finite number, it speaks to our need for order. It's the same psychology which astrology works on.
if you took those, but you take these points, like if you look at people as sanguine or melancholic, or the basic personality descriptions, pragmatic. There are 4 or 5 classes, and then you mix to the degree. So you lead with, because you're basically a melancholic person is a person who's a lot of negativity. Okay, at the end of the day, that's the leading point there. Like they're 52% negativity, and then of course there are the other things. Very few people are going to be 100%. 100% doesn't exist. So it's almost like democracy. The ruling party has to have a mandate. So that ruling party, the personality.
So from what I understand, right, and the way I also in some ways look at the world, right, is that these kinds of overly broad classifications of people into types, right? It is, and the reason why it has been kind of discredited, right, is this idea that it is the search for order in a random world, right? It's the same reason why people believe in astrology or religion or any kind of, or Baba Ramdev or any kind of pseudo nonsensical kind of thing, right?
So basically, you may be Amit. You may be a mathematical minded person who likes objective thought,
right,
as against subjective thought. I think that's the huge issue. There's a philosophical fight going on where the objective thought person, when you're strongly that, cannot take anything which is just random, keeping it open. Like I've just told you, 50% this, 30% that. They want more black and white, and they want it scientifically correct. Like this is it.
If anything, I am more open to the idea that there is uncertainty, right? Because
but then you should accept the personality mixing.
No, because personality mixing is simplifying human complexity. When you say that there are 48 personality types, right? What you are doing is you are essentially simplifying the complexity of the human experience. And most people are more complex than being able to fit into a set number of types, right? Because if what you're saying is there are 50 types of people, what you're essentially saying that basically I am the same as what is the math here? 200 million people in the world, 300 million people in the world. And I don't buy that. I don't buy that there are 300 million people who think almost exactly the same as me, and my behavior, their behavior can be modeled, and my behavior can be predicted. I think that things are a lot more individualistic than that.
Because there's going to be 300 million Osamas, 300 million, Himeshes singing out there, 300 million Falguni Pataks, 300 million Yogi Adityanaths. Oh, God. You've opened up a Pandora's
Yeah.
box. Our world is over now, as far as I can say. What else?
This is astrology, right? I mean, like, why do people believe in, not we, why do people believe in astrology?
They divide into 12.
And they divide into 12, even more ridiculous, right? Why do people believe in religion, right? It's the same thing. It's a search for order in randomness, right? And it's trying to find these kinds of patterns. So I mean, like, that's so yeah. When you ask me that, do I believe that you can describe people? Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
But Silverie, do you believe in astrology?
No, not at all. Not in astrology.
Not at all.
No, not at all.
You never discuss with your friends, like,
I mean,
hey, your birthday tomorrow, bro.
oh yeah, my birthday tomorrow. Correct.
You're close to you're same as my niece Elizabeth in America, and you're 2 days away from my dad, 14th, and 11 days away from oh God, another Gemini. I'm surrounded by Geminis.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
That's cool. Nice.
yeah.
Yeah, everyone's two-faced around you, Cyrus. Basically.
That's negative. But otherwise, there's a lot of positives also. Pretty good.
Yeah,
So
of course.
I can live with two-face. Well, as long as you know what the two faces are, it's not deceit. Like, if you know how personality is, people say predictable is boring, but if you have some idea of what's happening, I think the animal is known to you and you're okay. That's why they say don't breed the dog and the wolf, because they don't know what to expect when you have a dog wolf, which they have bred, of course.
Yeah.
So it's similar like that. Once you know what the person's different parameters are, you're okay. You can work around it without clashing. Yeah. I don't know why we've gotten into all this. It's the most boring discussion we've ever had.
You know where we went.
Let's go.
But having said that, Leo, which is my sign or his sign, he just mentioned Two-Face and all. Or Leo, they're definitely more exuberant people I've noticed that is there in the arts, louder. There are a few things which seem to be similar. Now you'll say, but that's similar to a lot of other people also.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, there are people who are
They seem to accept the point I'm saying, because there is definitely some commonality.
no, there is not.
Well, I can think of 10 Leos immediately, and we definitely have some common strains.
So how many Leos can you think of immediately?
Say Saukar.
No, you said you can think of 10 Leos immediately?
Yeah.
How many people like this can you think of immediately who exist in the world?
With my super brain, probably 3,416,000.
So my point being that it's just that it's self-selecting bias, right? I mean, like, you think Leos are like this, so you're looking for Leos who are like this.
So you're saying it's auto-suggested to you by what you've read that the Leos are like this.
No, and so that's why when you see a Leo who is like this, you basically accept that, and hey, here's my proof. Leos are like this. And then when Leos who are not like this, you don't even think
I
about
don't
them.
know too many Leos who are soft, quiet. There's certain, I'm not saying everything.
Leo is August. Okay.
August, July 22nd, August 22nd.
My friend Saurabh Sanghvi.
Is he quiet? Is he shy?
Very soft-spoken. Very soft-spoken. He's not shy, but very soft.
I want his birth certificate. I want to talk to his parents. I need to investigate the matter.
My brother-in-law.
Look at his cheek. He's just trying to disown me, man. This is disrespect to an older statesman.
It's not disrespect. It's just like, I mean, like, it's just...
You have to find the one Leo who's basically a Cancer, no pun intended. This one Leo.
I can find as many Leos who are quiet as you can find who are gregarious. I'm sure that we can do that, right?
Be careful, because in India, rationalists like yourself are, not looked after well. So be very careful. Yeah.
That is true.
Shall we start talking about something? It's 10:18 and we discuss Leos and Maya's whatevs. I mean, really, substance is always lacking, but come on, draw a line somewhere, guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard someone else laughing.
All right, cool.
Not three of us. Was it Rishi? There was a fourth laugh. Now, do you believe in ghosts? Sorry to bring it up.
Amit's help was laughing.
You know what? Okay, I'm going to derail the podcast again. I heard a really interesting question on podcasts. Okay,
Yeah.
A podcast that I listen to, and I want to hear both of you. What both of you? Do you believe in ghosts?
That's why I just asked. So here's my thing.
Do you believe in ghosts?
See, again, you asking for a yes/no answer, and I'm again telling you that this yes/no answer is an uncomfortable answer for me to give, and I'll tell you why. Because primarily, I would say it's more like a no. But for God's sake, why do I feel scared when I'm sitting? Okay, I was about a few years back. I was in Jim Corbett area in Nainital, and they put us in this guest house sort of thing. It was really dark, and there's no sound.
Okay.
Amit Silverie, when I say no sound, you please understand, city boys. There is no sound. Okay, and that's eerie. The soundlessness.
Like no crickets and all also.
No, that comes at a little later in the night. They have stages. And then if there's a sound like a thud or something, like a footstep or something, you can't tell. Your mind starts playing. At that point, yes, I'm sort of tilting towards ghosts. So I don't know whether it's conditioning from childhood or whatever. I'm saying all of us basically don't believe. But if I put you in a condition where all these
Yep.
things play on your senses, I don't know whether you'll be
Yep.
completely no.
Okay. What about you, Antriksh? Same?
So
Okay.
I get scared because if I listen to like a good ghost story, I'll definitely get scared. But I know in my mind that no such things
Then
exist.
why do
Okay.
you get scared?
Do you want, so this is the second part of the question, which I thought was the more interesting part, right? Do you want to live in a world where ghosts exist or not?
No, man, it's too scary, bro. I don't know, man.
So you don't, because see, the ghosts imply afterlife. Afterlife implies, all kinds of other
But
things.
I got problems with the whole ghost theory. Firstly, they're always in white. Okay, like that. I mean, why are they always in white? What's the connection there? They're always in white. Have you ever seen a ghost in blue? He's always in bloody white,
So I
and
actually,
they always have a light about them.
isn't green also a very common color for ghosts, for ghost viewings and stuff like that, that people
In
who see
Ramsey
them?
Brothers productions, it was green, but that's because they couldn't get white for some reason on that particular day when they were shooting.
No, I feel like a lot of urban legends around ghosts, right, describe the ghost as having like this greenish glow.
No, I'm talking about the outfit. The outfit is white.
I feel like I've read that.
They'll be
Huh.
shiny. They'll be sort of shiny. I don't know whether
Huh.
color is important. They'll just be shiny. So all these things are unnecessary. That's why, except for Casper, mostly the ghost has a negative sort of weightage to attached to it,
Right.
and that's my problem. If they're really ghosts there, then are they going to be nice? I'm sure like the ghost is come and fix my Wi-Fi. I'll be like, hey, bro, you're the guy who, yeah, of course, come, and he can fix it. And
What about all the other things that get kind of that the existence of ghosts open up the door to, right? The existence of ghosts, if you live in a world where ghosts are real, doesn't all supernatural possibilities become real as well? This was not a stoner podcast, but I thought it was a damn funny part. I thought it was a really interesting conversation
no,
that you guys
there's
were
no
having.
end to that, man. And
Yeah.
you want to disrespected so many historical figures will be like, I heard what you said, bro. All right, just be very careful. Victor's there eating the sausage quietly. He's now non-vegetarian. He's like, I heard what you said. I was not that bad. Next thing you know, why would you want that, bro? They'll be all over your head. Relatives, friends. We're at a point where people unfortunately have passed away and all that.
Hmm.
It's a little ooh. Trying to sleep. Firstly, there's the construction work going on, and then suddenly there's these three people staring at you with shiny green faces and white clothes. I'm just making us both happy.
Again, I would think that if ghosts were real, right? I mean, like, wouldn't that also imply that there is a soul and the soul is then reborn, because that's the ghost mythology, right? That very few souls stick around. Most of them kind of pass on and move on into other things.
Correct me if I'm wrong because you're the expert on ghosts for some reason.
I'm not. I just think it's funny, man. I just think it's a great. I thought it was a fun discussion, not funny, fun discussion.
No, I'm just thinking that aren't they supposed to be not? They haven't got permission to reach the netherworld or other worlds, and they're sort of in limbo,
Yeah.
and hence they're ghosts because they haven't.
The general mythology,
Both in Indian and Western mythology, they are stuck.
they're stuck because they are not at peace.
Morgan Freeman, for example, was what was he? He was God. He was God. He was
Morgan
God.
Freeman was God. Yes.
There was the Whoopi Goldberg movie with Patrick Swayze, was it?
Patrick, you call that the Whoopi Goldberg movie?
She was just a small role in that.
No, she was there, but it was the Patrick
That
Swayze,
made
Demi
her that film
Moore.
put on another level because it was really a very appreciated role, small as it was.
She was known for Jumpin' Jack Flash before that.
Yeah, but I'm saying even this one it
Oh.
was a small role, but it was very impactful.
Yeah, it was a big one for her. But I mean, dude, that's the Demi Moore and Patrick Swayze movie, no? It's not the Whoopi Goldberg movie. It's like
He likes his ladies a little plump. Don't get into that. Now, fatism is a new thing. He
Yeah.
likes the fat ladies. What's wrong
No,
with that?
I
Very
just get
good.
attracted to the comedians. She was a
No,
comedian.
I'm just saying, like calling Ghost the Whoopi Goldberg movie, right? It's like calling Sholay the Asrani movie, right? Or I mean, like
Okay, yeah, that's
it's
true.
I mean, like it's true technically.
I just like the fact that the Americans started using names which are basically expressions of sound. Like whoopee. I was hoping that we'd start doing that. Like an Indian ones like Chi. Imagine your name is Chi. I think that's evolution of sorts, where you don't have a Henry or Rajesh. Oh, bloody old boring names. Now we're just all sounds. And we should have our sounds because Desi is important. So I would like all the Indian sounds. Imagine your name is Come now. You're coming? Great one, yeah. Again, we have to stay with one topic. Back to the ghosts, which is hey Amit, let's get a ghost guy on. Now we already had that one guy who was the Ghostbuster.
Let's do that. Let's look for a paranormal.
But we have to get the other side, the ghost proponent. of ghostism.
He was not. He was somebody who believed in supernatural, right? The guy who we had.
No.
He was non-committal. He was a little non-committal.
Okay.
No, no, no. He was listen. He was trying to get rural India to stop getting because especially rural India, was behaving in an abominable fashion by accepting all these superstitions.
So that is a little different. Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
Okay. So he wasn't that. I thought he didn't. We get like a supernatural inspector or something like that, or it's like a supernatural detective.
We had Jailani.
kill their fears
Yeah, we had.
mostly.
Okay. Okay. All right. I need to watch the episodes I'm not on a little more, or listen to the episodes I'm not on a little more.
Don't worry, you're with the two experts, arguably the worst in the podcasting world when it comes to retaining knowledge. So, what can we tell you? I'm so embarrassed because I've twice told Sylvie to put guests on who've already been on the show. Imagine him all wide-eyed calling up and saying, "Hi, Shanaz, can you appear on our show? We really, know a lot about you. You're a great blogger, blah blah." But I've already been on the show. Oh, there's no way back from that. But we can have her again. She's really interesting.
Yep,
Why can't we
absolutely.
have people again? But we need to have a reason, I guess. We can't ask the same
We
question.
can. We can listen. We can always have people again
Yeah.
if we had a good time talking to them. We should always have. We should try and do that.
But I want the ghost story to be established more. We don't have the origin. See,
Have you guys had any ghost experiences of your own? Like that you think might be, maybe, I don't know.
in Mahabaleshwar, when I was young, they used to tell us that this one bungalow opposite where we used to stay, somebody else's bungalow, was haunted. And honestly, it was laughable and all that. But in the night, nobody wanted to go near that bungalow. So again, I can't explain it. I think it's just auto suggestion. It's like someone tells you the dog is going to bite you, so you get scared and you won't go near the dog. But actually,
Yeah.
that's not true. So it just goes into your subconscious, and I think, and especially as a child now, because the imagination is much wilder. I think we take it in a more deep and intense way. And so I can't remember if I tried to actually go there in the day. But definitely in the day, you would pass it without feeling the fear you felt in the night. And why that would happen, cannot explain. I am the night rider.
I've never felt the ghostly experience. Or I've never worried that this is a ghost, but I had the same kind of like there was on I'm sure you know this one, right? On Ridge Road, before you take a turn to Jamnada, so like when you're coming to my
Yeah.
house, right?
Yeah.
Next to Rekha building, there used to be an old bungalow which was like broken down and stuff like that, and it used to be called a Bhoot Bangla. And so I know that like my friends and me, we would go around for like
In the night?
you'd walk in the evening, right? So basically you go for a like this is 8 9 10
At
7,
2 in the morning did you go?
not 2 in the morning.
That's the key
Yeah.
to test your courage.
Not
Not at
2 in the
7,
morning.
8 in Bombay. It's a
Yeah.
bustling city before lockdown.
I don't see here's the thing. I don't necessarily believe in ghosts, but I also don't see the reason why I should tempt ghosts if they are out there. Let them do their own thing.
You're like us. There's a 10%
Yeah.
reservation you've kept there for any emergency that you fund that you can turn to in case they do exist. But what do we call them? If you
But you should.
no, did you say Mr. Ghost, like Ghost G? I mean, how do you address a ghost? Like
That's a good question. I don't know.
Shriman Ghost? You don't want to piss the guy off. You don't know what powers the ghost have.
That is true. Yeah, no, but that's why exactly right. So it's like why who wants to poke the bear, right? I mean, like if the ghost does not exist, great. If the ghost exists, stay the fuck away from me, right? I don't need to be near you, right? So either way,
Right.
what is the point of going to?
The rationalist is not taking a chance.
No. Sorry. Rationalism means that you change your mind based on information in front of you. Right now, the information in front of me is such that I do not believe that ghosts exist in this world. If that information changes, I will believe that ghosts exist in the world.
You take your phone at 1:30 in the morning, you walk quietly to the Bhoot Bangla, which is hardly 20 meters away from you, and you go inside, and then you take shots of yourself lounging, relaxing, exercising, having a pizza, whatever, and then you come out after half an hour. Thus, exposing that there is no ghost and everybody's happy. Amit,
Right.
Is the challenge accepted?
No. Why? Why? I see no reason why.
How are you going to bust the myth?
It's not. I'm not a ghostbuster. It's not my thing in life that I want to make people stop believing in
What
ghosts.
the hell? This is not Kautilya's Arthashastra and we're giving bloody brand jobs to everybody and, Ghostbusters are a group of 8 people who live in Kanpur. No.
But I don't care enough to want to bust ghost myths, right? So why should I even take the 0.000001% chance there is of missing up a ghost?
Bottom line is all of us, most of the world doesn't have the cojones to do it in the night. Okay, if it's an established myth, obviously, but we still don't have the guts to do it, whether it's Mahabaleshwar or here, somewhere north or
So,
south.
I
We
mean,
wouldn't
it's
do
a
it.
collective unconscious, right? I mean, like, there's a reason why all of us are scared about many of the same things, right? The idea that, being in a drafty, windy, old, dark house is scary by it just is, right? I mean, like, all of us are scared of that, right? We hear the wind whistling through stuff, and it's just like, well, that's weird and that's scary. So, I mean, I see no reason to, like, why should I push a ghost who has no problem with me?
One couple of practical questions that I'm just thinking. I mean, now that we'll have to go into break anyway without talking. Can you have sex with a ghost?
According to the movie Ghost, you can.
That is, yeah. And there are like experiences where people say,
I don't know if they actually had sex or not. Actually, you're right.
Yeah.
It seems like it was close. What was the pottery scene? How did that end?
Like if you hug a ghost, do you feel something, or they're just like an energy? Or because they're supposed to
they're
be
supposed to go right through you, right?
There's also supposed to forget. You're supposed to have this feeling of like cold, like you freeze or chilly as they pass through you, and you're also supposed to feel slightly damp because of the ectoplasm, which is the green thing. The ectoplasm is what I think is supposed to be green.
bloody rubbish.
That's why I said green. No, people are making fun of the green ghost, which is why I'm saying that there
Yeah.
was it wasn't just pulled out of my this, right? I mean, the ectoplasm is supposed to be greenish.
I had an interesting experience once that I can actually talk about it after the break if you want.
Yeah,
let's take a
let's
break.
take a break without a single topic. This is our world record. A full half hour has gone without a single topic.
That's how we do it.
And we're stuck on ghosts, of which neither of us is close to being an expert. That's the sad part. Here's the
But-
break.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you're not following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I'd like to thank the sponsor on the network this week, Credence. Thank you so much for making this possible. On Cyrus Says, Cyrus was joined by actress Shreya Pilgaonkar to talk about her career in acting. On Begin the Journey, Ashish Vidyarthi lists down the modern concepts of friendship and how one can choose the right friend circle in life on Begin the Journey. On The Habit Coach, Ashton Doctor was joined by Aisha Bilamoria to talk about running and developing an athletic mentality. Farhad and Sunitra are joined by LGBTQ workplace advocate Suresh Ramdas to discuss the new normal in queer relationships on KBCD. On Tere Mere Raste, Keshav Chaturvedi takes us to the riverbanks of Banaras and describes the soulful mornings to us. And finally, on the Positively Unlimited podcast, Chetna Chakravarti takes the fear out of the word responsibility. And with that, let's get you back to your show.
Follow me at Instagram and Twitter on Bored Brocha. I'm so bored, I need your help. I need your love. I need your touch. Okay, just follow me.
Yeah. Do you guys know what a creepy pasta is? Have you heard of the term creepy pasta? It's a nonsensical term, but have you heard of it?
Is that like that centipede type bug?
No.
No. Okay.
No. So a creepypasta, it's a nonsense term
Okay.
for a horror story that has been propagated through the internet, that has spread through the internet.
Okay.
They're almost not related to what it actually means.
Which is true, a true story or untrue?
We don't know. It's a horror story. Maybe it's true. Maybe it's untrue. We don't really.
Oh, so it's like a play on copy paster. Copy paster. Like copy paster are these stories which people like that. It's a
Fundamentally, are they rumors which are pushed forward, or are they?
Yeah, they're rumors. They're rumors that are pushed forward. Yeah.
okay.
So it's like creative
Yeah,
WhatsApp.
Okay. All right, no, go ahead, please. Please go ahead.
So that's what a creepypasta is. So, and there are like some very famous creepypasta stories that exist. There's something called Jeff the Killer, about a guy who killed his brother and then cut off his own eyelids so he could never go to sleep at night. Okay, that's a very famous one. There's something called Smile Dog. If you want like nightmarish kind of just an imagery in your mind, just search for Smile Dog. It's a dog smiling. You've seen that photo before, but you didn't know it was a creepypasta. So there are like many of these that exist. Okay. There is one such thing called Slenderman.
What the hell are you doing, Silverie, with your life?
It's so damn interesting, man.
Slenderman isn't Slenderman isn't that like an older urban legend? I feel like that's pre-internet.
That's I think that's one of the original ones, but that's definitely counted as a creepypasta as well.
Okay.
But maybe it's like one of the original ones, or like one of the first few ones that came
I
out.
feel like
That's why.
Slenderman was referenced in a episode of the TV show Supernatural, if I'm not mistaken.
Very possibly, because Slenderman, there have been movies made now. There are games.
Oh.
It's the most popular creepypasta that exists. The
Okay.
Slenderman thing.
All right.
Yeah, that's why maybe that's why they talk about it in multiple mediums. A few years back, there was a little girl who committed a murder,
Oh.
and the two little girls said that the Slenderman made them do it. Because
One second. This is a real story now. A young girl.
the second. Yeah, the little girl thing was a real story. Yeah, it was
You're kidding me. Is she in the room? The way you're putting your hand out there, she's right there.
She is right there.
Please don't tell me her name is
yeah.
Maya.
Hey,
Can't you
it's
see
fine.
the
It's fine.
greenish outline right next to Antariksh?
I know. I heard somebody say whatever. I'm a little worried. Listen. How old was the girl who committed the murder?
I want to say around 10, maybe even
That
less than
young?
10.
Are you kidding
Very
me,
young, very young, very young.
bro? This is the worst podcast we've ever been on.
But wait,
I
wait,
can't
wait.
believe this conversation. There's worse.
No, that's my part of the story. This is just her, the shit she did. That poor thing.
But this is your personal story now.
This is a personal thing, yeah. So one day, me and my friend are sitting and we are talking about conversation about creepypastas. And we talk about everything. So we start with Slenderman, okay? And then we talk about all the creepypastas that we know. And we both are fascinated by the stuff. And after about, say, 5 minutes of talking about, 5-10 minutes of talking about the stuff, we move on to then other topics, okay? Like for 40 minutes or to an hour, I'm talking to him about something completely different, okay? After about an hour, randomly, my Google phone, the Google Assistant goes, sorry, I could not find results for Slenderman. So the entire conversation I had with him, okay, for an hour.
Have you spoken to the app before?
I had not spoken about anything. I hadn't said Slenderman. And how is it that all the app caught was the word Slenderman and nothing else from our conversation at all?
And that too after 1 hour.
Yeah, after like an hour, exactly. Just randomly, we are talking about something completely different at that
You are
point.
the same Wi-Fi guy that I have. Everything is happening later.
It got stuck in the queue of searching.
Were you scared or just little?
No, it was definitely eerie. We both noticed just the odds of that happening was insane. But yeah, I find that very interesting. That that's the Slenderman thing.
So basically, you're saying that like the Google, the search voice gave you a result without you asking
Yeah,
something.
the search voice. Yeah, without me asking something. Exactly.
But even if the app was somehow open or whatever, how did it take 1 hour to give the answer? I don't think it ever could. It have a
internet connection or Slenderman.
That's the only explanation. But yeah, but we had been like so. Not. I don't know if you were searching for other stuff, but I didn't have internet problems the rest of the day.
No, so,
Can you do it again?
Like it was fine.
You do this experiment again. Exactly the same way.
I don't know.
You have a chat and then stop and go and talk about cricket or football or whatever the hell you talk about, and then come back after 1 hour and see what happens. I mean, give it 1 hour and see what happens. Same phone?
Yeah, same phone. Yeah, still the same phone.
It's your birthday tomorrow, brother. Be very careful. God and the ghost concentrate on people on their birthday. Ooh, which is good. Gujarati for me. All right. Topic number 1, 10:37.
All right, yes, please. Topic number 1. Yes, finally. So,
we'll do one topic and then go to AMAs because I actually do have to stop at 11 today.
I think so. Or we can just go back to ghosts, kitch out for 5 minutes and do AMAs anyway. Yeah.
No, let's talk about this topic. It's a very interesting topic. I want to say Saturday, June 5th, the Saturday that just went by. Anonymous, the hacker group Anonymous, came out with basically like a threat video against Elon Musk. Basically saying that Elon Musk, you are all this time you have enjoyed like being people's favorite from the billionaire class. You're the only one that people like from the billionaire class. So you've enjoyed like all the perks of being a likable billionaire class person. But what your tweets in the last week have shown us that you don't care about people's well-being and you don't care about what other people say. Basically, they say it seems that the games you have played with the crypto markets have destroyed lives. And the video states, adding that the tweets show a clear disregard for the average working person. So because of that, they've said that this is basically a threat. And you think you are the smartest person in the room, but now you have met your match. We are Anonymous. We are Legion. Expect us. So basically they're saying, okay, dude, calm down with your tweets.
It sounds like another ghost.
Basically, this sounds like a bunch of people over-invested in crypto whose prices have crashed.
Yeah.
Sorry, I forgot to read it in the anonymous accent of the. This is a message from Anonymous for Elon Musk. The way they do it.
But so I mean, what's the deal with Elon Musk exactly on this?
Nothing. I mean, like he's just fucking around with crypto markets, right?
Okay.
So there are a couple of things, right? So one is there's actually a more serious conspiracy about his activities in crypto. But what's happening is that he's making fun of Dogecoin, which is like a cryptocurrency created from like a dog picture or something like that, which went crazy high before he got onto Saturday Night Live because he was tweeting about it.
Yeah.
Tesla, but the more interesting or the more kind of complicated possibility around this, right, is Tesla used to accept Bitcoin, or they were saying that they were accepting Bitcoin, and then they stopped. and then they stopped because
Yeah.
of environmental issues and stuff like that. Bitcoin is very expensive to kind of create, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys know how.
What's the environmental issue?
So the way
Encouraging them to create the coin. Okay.
yeah, so when you create, so you create Bitcoin by mining. Mining requires
Okay. Got it. Got it. Got
computing
it.
power. Computing power requires energy. The amount of energy being used right now on the to mine a single Bitcoin, if I'm not mistaken, or it's not that, but there's something. There's some comparison. So basically, you're mining as much energy as nation states are right now to maintain this
It's
currency.
like blood diamonds, but a higher currency. Huh. Then
It's electricity, right? Like, so I mean, like, I think they're using so much electricity, and so he stopped using Bitcoin. At the same time, when he stopped doing it, the Bitcoin prices more or less crashed, right? And so that is a market kind of mechanism which could be fudged in some ways, especially when you're so active in these kinds of things. Tesla also held Bitcoin. Not only were they what you call it, not only were they not only were they accepting Bitcoin as
they
payment,
hoarded Bitcoin.
they invested in Bitcoin. They put money into Bitcoin and they kept Bitcoin on
So when
reserve.
they stopped payments in Bitcoin, were they still invested in Bitcoin or not?
That's the question. Because if they were not, then what they did is first they sold out their stake and then they basically crashed the market, right? Which would not be great,
Yeah.
right? So
But it's been done all over the world many times before. Huh.
yeah, so it's just it's a weird one, but at the same time, it's also like. It also lays out some of the weaknesses in crypto. I think crypto is a very interesting idea. I think, the possibility of it is quite strong and quite good. But I think that a lot of people who are pro crypto also overstate what are the benefits and understate what are the risks.
You've invested yourself in a little bit of.
The time passed there. I've not really invested in crypto. I was, like I told you, poker money. I haven't played poker in a year, right? So poker money is going into Bitcoin instead.
I invested like about 2 weeks back. I invested a bit, and then the market's like completely crashed. And I'm like, okay, this is terrible.
I'm sure you're not happy. Yeah.
May I ask how much vaguely?
About 20 I've put in right now.
So it was like a punt you could risk.
It's money you put in.
That's a whole month's salary. A lot of people. Huh.
You put in and you forget.
Yeah, basically.
Right? I mean, like, if you are none of us are to trade in any kind of crypto right now is foolish. We don't know jack about any of
Yeah.
these things.
Guys have got it all wrong. The best way to grow money is do the Indian old-fashioned way. Put it under your mattress. That's where you keep your money.
And then put seeds on it and put some dirt around it as well. Maybe like
Let's go.
And in my case, it's so safe because nobody shares the bed with me and never will. So there's no worry. It's the safest place to be. Anyway, bottom line is Elon Musk is guilty of a little fudging, of a little manipulating.
No, not necessarily. I mean, like, again, anonymous is overstated as well.
If he sold at the same time he is.
But it's not illegal to do this. See, this is what I'm.
No, it's not illegal,
But these are the risks, right?
but it's ruthless.
Yeah, but these are the risks around crypto right now, right? That it's completely unregulated. You don't know how anybody can manipulate the market. So China is where a lot of the Bitcoin stuff is being mined right now. And when China went, so like there was a part of the power grid that went off for like 12 hours, 14 hours, or something like that. And basically, Bitcoin couldn't be processed because all the mining was happening in China, right? And so basically, it is so there's just so many different kinds of plays. There's so many different risks. I mean, like it's a it's just.
I used to get really confused initially. I thought Bitcoin meant, it's just part of the coin and the rest will come later. I thought that was the whole idea behind it. So I was like, it would be like a jagged thing and it would come and then the rest would reach in the fullness of time. But obviously it's not that. So good to know. It's a lesson in reality. We've learned about ghosts and Bitcoin and nothing much else. Antisocial versus asocial, astrology and the dependence of superstition. It's been a pretty, if you look at it,
we've had a well-rounded episode.
Yeah, swings and roundabouts, as they say. Young man, shall we go to the AMAs?
Yes,
because
sir.
it's 10:45
Yep.
now. How time passed today is almost like we're drinking. Yeah. So I only remember this when I used to drink alcohol. It was just suddenly it's like 11 and no time. Just some correlation between drinking and that. But now that we don't, I don't know anymore. Sorry, AMAs?
All right, sure. The first one comes in from Janil Bain. He says, Macron being slapped, Indian style of politics seems to have crossed borders.
No, it's not Indian style.
Yeah.
It's not Indian style. There's no chappal. If there's no chappal, you're not
There's no
Indian.
that's America.
In India, you throw, and you never throw two chappals. You always throw one chappal. So that means you're also taking one for the team because you have to go back home wearing one chappal. I'm thinking people never think about what the rebel goes through. You throw one, you have one, you go home with only one, generally speaking.
Well, I mean,
So
this shit happens everywhere. Right? Didn't George Bush get like a shoe thrown at him? And I mean, like,
Yeah.
Australian PM got an egg thrown at
yeah,
him.
I mean,
Yeah, it comes with the territory. You can say.
it comes exactly when you're when you're in power and people dislike what you're doing. It's not that difficult.
Nobody will do it to our prime minister. I'll tell you that. Our
Yeah, probably
security
not.
cordon of 8 million people and all, it's just very unlikely.
Probably not, but I think so. There is definitely a difference in the approachability, just generally, of Indian politicians versus other country politicians, right? You're never going to
Yeah.
see a
Yeah, but
Indian politician in a way which is accessible. At least not a major one, not somebody of the kind of like with the power where somebody will want to go out and slap him in public or do
you'll
this.
see the Indian Premier at the French Open possibly and shaking hands, but not at the Indian Open. That won't
Yeah.
happen because out there he'll be completely cordoned off with millions of people, and no one will be 100 feet. You just won't be able to come close. I can't remember them ever doing, since maybe Rajiv Gandhi's time, ever doing a sort of public thing which is not orchestrated completely. Where they have 20 people who they've trained to come.
I would also say that why they shouldn't, right? I mean, like since Rajiv Gandhi's time, I mean, like we
Yeah.
remember how Rajiv Gandhi died, right? I mean, like it was a place where people,
He was trying to be a connect.
yeah,
The Padyatra is all that. You have to connect with the people on a physical level. Physical is very
yeah,
important. So they
yeah.
actually get off and hug people, pick up the baby. Westerners do the same thing. All those lovely humane moments, and you never see those people again. This is the kind of relationships I want. You meet people, you show love, and you never see them again. This is the one thing I think is good for humanity. Because when you see people again, it's tough to show love. But for first time, you can show love, and it's sort of even sincere for a bit, and then you never see them again.
I'm just
Mm.
looking. Sorry, I'm looking at our comments right now, and I just no, I'm just there. So our old friend Srinivas Kulkarni, he had Bitcoin at 5K. He got out.
Oh, wow.
He had 5,000. He had 5,000 rupee bitcoins, and he got out of it.
He got out when? Up or down?
He got out at 20,000. It's 5 lakhs now, no? 4 lakhs now.
Mm.
Oh, he got out at 20, but
He got out at 20,000. Yeah, so he apparently made some money, but
blockchain is for the future.
is the fucking future. I mean, like I'm sure that's how he feels right now, given that he got out at
Everything is a
20.
punt. Otherwise, everybody would make money. I mean, everything is a punt. It's not like you can do.
No,
I
that's
mean,
true. That's true. That's true.
I wish this show could just tell them exactly what to do. That would be the best show ever. You don't have gags or controversies or fancy guests. You just sit and tell people, this is guarantee you're going to make money. Just follow 1, 2, 3 steps. I know there are many shows like that, but none of them are super successful because actually, at the end of the day, they don't really guarantee anything. But maybe we should lie.
Yeah, you never know about anything, right? Even this stuff, right? Like, so yeah, I'm not a crypto expert really, right? But I mean, like I've done a little bit of reading around it, and the two primary things that people look at is Bitcoin and Ethereum, right, as the two main kind of this or the two this. And I mean, like when you read at them, it seems like Ethereum has more utility, but at the same time, Bitcoin has more brand value, and you never know how this stuff's gonna work.
Do you think Superman would be able to handle crypto?
He could handle crypto as long as it was a night.
Okay. There's no need to kill
See,
that
I
gag.
could make the
Uh,
joke. I could do the joke
You
too. I'm
need
not a
to.
comedian, but I
The
can do
gag
a joke.
ends on. The gag ends on crypto. We don't have
No,
to
it
feed it
cannot
after
end
that.
on crypto.
We're doing a
It
Kunal
cannot end on
Vijayekar.
crypto. It
This is a
cannot
Kunal
end.
Vijayekar moment. This is how you could explain
No, it's
everything.
not a Kunal
Line
Vijayekar
it
moment.
and do the comprehension of the boy said this because. Okay. Next one.
All right. Next one comes in from Artik Shetty. Artik Shetty says, "Morning, guys. With the Euro starting today, will you guys be following it? If yes, which teams will you be supporting?"
We already had a horrible moment in the night at dinner where we were discussing the Euro Cup, and I was trying to explain to my wife about football. And my mom, who actually likes sports, said, yes, tomorrow is the opening. It's Brazil versus Argentina. And then everybody, of course, took off because Euro Cup and they're South American countries. And so my poor mom had to cop a bit from my daughter for the next 5 minutes. Yeah. But it's a very strange Euro Cup this time with different cities and groups in different parts of, thanks to COVID, different parts of Europe. But what I find fascinating, and also in the French Open, the same problem, is that Indians generally gravitate towards names they can pronounce. That's the problem. So lots of teams, because the East European teams, some of them are very difficult to pronounce and you can't remember their names. The recall is difficult. You tend to stay with England, Scotland, Spain, even Portugal, because the names sound like, Argon names or whatever. There's some sort of similarity. So I think people stay with those names. In tennis, the moment Serena, Federer, names like that crashed out, you're suddenly struggling. We have a 29-year-old girl whose name, her first name is Anastasia. Her second name is Wowski. I tried my best. I watched the game. I just can't remember her name. It's 5 syllables. She's a veteran. She's reached the final. She's waiting for the other semi-final to see who the opponent is. But I couldn't say her name. I still can't. And I saw the whole game. Imagine the whole game, and I can't say her name. Anastasia Podolowski. You can Google. You can go online and check. But it's a very tough name.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a real challenge getting your names right. Silverie, are you going to get into football finally or not?
No, not really. I don't. I'm not interested in sports. Watching sports at all, man. It just that doesn't
It's
interest
great
me.
fun watching Indians in the old days when we didn't have lockdown in bars or clubs, cheering for their team and wearing their shirts. Oh, you're wearing
Yeah.
Croatia. You don't even know the capital of the country, but you're screaming for the one name you can pronounce. Dragon, come on, whatever. And and they really get into it. And it's so insincere in some ways, but yet it's kind of cute because of the way we just get into it totally and adopt teams. Like in the old days for the World Cup, all the Bengalis would adopt Brazil. That was it. You couldn't argue.
I remember Brazil was like maybe 2000. World Cup started 2002, right? They're in the 2 6 10
Yeah.
14, right?
Yeah, that's right. 14, 18, 22.
Yeah, so
Should we do the max?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. So it was either 98 or 2002 because that's the last time I really participated in the one that France won.
2002 was South Korea, Japan.
Yeah, the one that France won one of those, right?
98.
Yeah. So the one that
2002 West Germany won. Oh, sorry, Germany won. West Germany. Slap!
but I remember going for a couple of bar type things, right? Where people are hundreds of people watching the match together.
Zidane.
Everybody was a Brazil fan. Everybody was a Brazil fan.
It was Ronaldo, Romario, Ronaldinho, that group.
Ronaldo, Ronaldinho. Yeah, that time. Yeah.
And they all were Brazil. And of course, our different Brazil. I like Brazil. Brazil.
Yeah.
I like Brazil. The way we say it. And that song was huge. It was like Alice. Like, you remember that Brazil song? Brazil. La 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 la. The whole room would light up and everyone would be,
You remember it was this place called Three Flights Up at Colaba? Like it
course.
was a gigantic place, right?
Yeah.
No, before it became Tendulkar's after that, right?
Oh, sorry, yeah.
But it was this gigantic place, you've never seen a club that size.
Very sporty. They would have all these sporting events there.
Yeah. And so I remember going and watching the matches over there, and man, I mean, it was just like, where do all these Brazil fans come from? I was really surprised by that. It was like what connection to Brazil is there?
You should have a Brazil quiz after the game. Okay, who's the prime minister now? Because Bolsonaro is world famous, but in those days.
No, even back then, if you had asked people in those days, what language do people from Brazil speak, they would have gotten that wrong. Most would say Spanish.
How enlightened are we, bro? How we know all these things? You don't even like football. Yeah.
I didn't know that. Honestly, I didn't know Brazil was.
I don't know if the rest of the Asian countries adopt the other countries so much as we do. We really, when we are watching football, Indians who are interested in it, they just adopt the team, whether it's La Liga, EPL, whether it's Euro Cup, Copa America, wherever it is, they just adopt the team and they treat it like India. It's like India. It's just like India with a different name now for a little while. And they wear the shirts, they get into it. There's some social.
You have to, right? If you want to, I mean, I get it. I understand why people do that, right? I was just so surprised that Brazil was the country that was picked in that sense, right? But why people do it? Because India's not great at football internationally.
No, Brazil was the glamour country also. The Pele and Garincha and all these big names coming down all into the 70s and beyond that. And then, of course, Argentina rose with the Maradona legacy. And so there were some countries who were in countries. Yeah.
Yeah, true. I guess
they have their own stars which propagated everything. But Bengal definitely moved to Brazil, and I suppose Goa would go for Portugal sometimes, or Brazil again, because that's close to the.
Really?
Well, there's a legacy, between the Portuguese being there and the.
Is it a legacy where you would root for them?
I met some Goan friends of mine who support Portugal openly. They say we're Portuguese in that sense, in a funny light. Yeah.
In the sense that they can get the Portuguese Euro passport, right?
There's some of the, people from the past spoke Portuguese. Lots of the
Yeah, but I mean, it was still. I mean, it wasn't exactly.
You find. I'm saying when you find you're not part of that thing, you find a reason to be part of the thing. Like a Parsi could support Iran in say the World Cup, if there's no India.
Iran is different.
No, but I'm saying you have to find some reason.
Would you ever so I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe
we did. I supported Ali Dai. I remember Iran was in one World Cup. We're cheering them on. There's no reason really.
Again, I think Parsis supporting Iran is different than Indians supporting England, right? I don't think that Indians would support England in a World Cup thing, would they?
But there's no India. So what's the problem, Amit? You're not supporting England versus India. You're supporting England versus Spain. Who cares?
I still find it.
It's like watching a movie and this guy is fighting that guy, and you support this guy against that guy. Who cares? There's no patriotism involved, really. It's just. But again, it comes down to the fact your dog versus my dog. It comes down to that. You adopt something.
When you're talking about a private club, right? Then it doesn't matter. But when you're talking about following a nation and basically becoming the nation's cheerleader,
But there's no India. It's a Euro Cup. There's no conflict of interest.
I understand that, but I mean, like, these are the people who basically looted us for 500 years.
The most your own friends will be doing it. They will support.
I know,
and support in a aggressive manner.
I'm sure they will, and I'm sure I will mock them if it ever comes across to me, right? But I mean, like, I find that a little uncomfortable.
Just do the quiz. Be the petty guy in the room who does the quiz. You like Spain? Tell me which part of Spain has the rebellion issue and the problem with the.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I have a little bit more of a need to be liked than to do that. But
what's happened to us? Is nobody a prick anymore? I mean, is this going to be a PC society that we've inherited? Everybody's going to be so nice. Come on, Portugal! By the way, are you supporting England, Amit, now that you mentioned it in Euro Cup?
No, probably not.
You don't give. You don't give a.
I don't. Listen. I am. There's either stay up late to watch football or wake up early to watch basketball. It's not really a competition for me.
Which is the bigger ball?
I think a basketball is larger.
It's harder for sure.
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah, it's harder, definitely. I think it's larger also. I think it is.
It is larger.
Yeah.
Can we get to some more AMAs? There are like a lot more, and we won't
Let's
be
do
able
a
to get to
couple
this one.
quickly. I do need to leave soon. Yeah.
I also.
Okay, sure. Next one comes in from Spurti Venkatesh. Hey, Cyrus, Amit and Silverie. What do you guys think about the Wuhan lab leak theory of COVID? So this has gained new ground. This theory has gained new ground because now it's coming out that, guys, it could actually be the Wuhan lab leak theory that led to the rise of COVID.
Yeah, it's possible.
Initially, what had happened was people were like, basically, if someone suggested the Wuhan lab leak theory, they would be shamed, basically.
They disappear.
Yeah.
Also, it's very clear, right? If you do that, then the finger of blame falls on the country. Okay, whether they like it or not. And if you don't, and it's purely from an animal, or then it's almost just incidental and there's nothing you could do, sort of thing. So it's just simply that. But now, if that is to be, the question is, it's not deliberate, right?
No, it's accidental. It's not weaponized, right? So
if it's accidental, then even, but still, they don't want the embarrassment of the accidental crime.
It's not about China, right? I think it's about how the rest of the world reacted to the lab leak as a thing. And I'm sure I've done. We spoke about this. And,
Donald Trump in berserk.
And that's the problem, right? The thing is that Donald Trump went off half-cocked on this stuff, and not just Donald Trump, but a bunch of other right-wing fingers, right? And there,
what was the figure he asked them to pay? Some 20 trillion million or something. It's like he spent 2 days getting the zeros in. It was like a ridiculous figure. Yeah. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, it's just the entire lab leak theory at the time when it was being proposed initially was always tinged with this kind of racism, right? Which made a lot of people uncomfortable. Now, the fact is, because it wasn't completely evidence-based, it was more theoretical.
People of the Oriental race, not necessarily Chinese, in America immediately after that, in the first wave when this blame game started. So you can imagine that racism will happen immediately everywhere.
It's become a little bit of a problem. It's an ongoing problem. Yeah, Antariksh.
But another thing they're saying is that America had partially funded this lab. So some of the research that was being done in the Wuhan lab was partially being funded by America or by the US. So maybe that's why they didn't want this theory out there, because they were like, oh, we'll be blamed for it, or we could be.
But the active that's not an active participation. They're not involved really.
Fauci's comment was that we provided $120,000 grant to an institute which has a $3 billion a year budget.
That's pointless. It's equity of less than 1%. Who cares? Yeah.
It was a grant given to a specific scientist.
This is how people, because you're prejudiced towards for or against, you push a story through, and people don't look at details. They see the headline and say, okay, but America's involved. They only built it. See, karma coming back to bite their own ass, all that.
No, and also, but see, the thing is also that it, it is instructive, right? Because my instinctual reaction to the lab leak stuff 6 months ago was like, this is a bunch of racist nonsense. But now, when people who I trust are writing about this and saying that, hey, this is a real thing, that it's possible, we don't know, it could be zoological, or it could be a lab leak, or it could be something we're not sure of yet.
Because man-made is the issue. If it's man-made, that means in some way we have contributed to the causing of this virus to escape into the atmosphere. Then you have to take some.
I don't think it's man-made.
It's man-made in the sense that they were experimenting with something and
Yeah, so it escaped. It escaped.
it escaped.
No. It's not created. It was not created. Again, I don't think.
It was a byproduct. But if your human interference wasn't there, Amit, this wouldn't have happened. That's look at it reverse it and
That
look
is
at it,
true.
right?
So the understanding I have, but look at it in this sense as well, right? If we want to be able to know what is going on in the world of diseases, what's coming, right, which is a part of the whole epidemiology field, right, to basically predict how diseases are coming, what flus are coming, so that flu vaccines can be developed, what's coming. That means you have to study the diseases that the animals have in the wildlife, in the wild, right? You have to be able to collect samples from different species to see what is going on, how the diseases that they have are evolving. So you have to test that in a lab, right, to know what is going on. And now there is a difference then from the point at which the lab, there is a leak where the security protocols which were keeping those disease virus molecules or whatever in a place was kind of breached, and somebody got infected because of a leak, and somebody actually genetically modifying a virus and turning it into something is a different. These are two different things, and they're being conflated.
Looking at the same point actually, because at the end of the day, the scientists, as you say, are not to blame because they experiment on something which will further humankind in some way. But there was a breach of security and
Yeah.
something escaped and whatever. But at the end of the day, who's the responsibility? I mean, you got to who the buck stops with whom?
This is the world we live in. I don't know that I mean, like, should China be held responsible? They should be held responsible for certain things. Absolutely, they should absolutely be held responsible for the first 2-3 months of how they suppressed information around this stuff, right?
I like your thinking. Chinese sponsor. I like the way you're going with this.
Yeah.
Even though the government is not approving, right now the badminton federation is not allowed Li Ning to be on the badminton bound folks going to Tokyo. The Li Ning sponsor has been taken off, so we have to be careful.
Yes.
But I like your thinking. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, let's not blame anyone. The point of the matter,
No,
the point of the
Yeah.
matter is that it did escape from the lab. That's it. If it did,
it might have. Again, see, it's not known that it has. It might have. It might not be a wet. It could be a wet market. It could be a hop in the wild. It could be a lab leak. It could be any of these things.
you're saying the jury's still out there.
That's what the last article I read with some detail was the article written by the guy who got fired from the New York Times for different reasons. But he has this new Substack, and he had written a long article about this. That's the last one I read. And based on what I read from that article, it can be a bunch of different things.
I think there's only one way out of this. Investigative reporter Antariksh, known as Silverie, will go to Wuhan. He will investigate the matter and come back after 3 months. Silverie,
Probably the safest place in the world right now. No corona whatsoever.
Yeah, absolutely.
maybe get yourself a nice little Wuhanese wife. Huh? Will the parents approve? Huh? And the fact that you don't
Yeah, why not?
imagine your conversations, you won't know a word she's saying, you won't know a word you're saying. It's a perfect marriage. Trust me. This kind of communication what keeps people happy when you really don't know what's going on. There's something in that. Think about it. We'll work on that in the meantime. Shall we do a quick one? It's 11:04.
Yeah, let's just do the last one. Yeah.
Last 1 minute.
Yeah, last one. Srinivas Kulkarni has posted a very interesting comment. He says, I've worked graveyard shifts in call centers and have not seen a ghost on CCTV. Basically, a guy talking to an empty chair who claimed he spoke to a girl. It continues. The guy, when he saw the CCTV, freaked out and quit the job. He either had paranoia/schizophrenia or there was a spirit.
I didn't even think about that. The mental imbalance in the person,
Yeah.
which causes you to. We didn't even get into that side. People who think because those people apparently, if you have the mental imbalance, you absolutely believe what you've seen.
Yeah.
So you're not really lying in a sense because in your mind this has happened. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know. It's a. People can make themselves believe all kinds of things, right? That's absolutely there. I can't believe I forgot this right when we were talking about ghosts so much earlier.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever had? I don't know if this is a. So there's a thing in our family, or it used to be called Baba Avesha, which basically means that ancestors'
Coming back.
ghost is coming into somebody's body, and he is then giving them advice. And I remember seeing this when I was like probably 10 years old or 11 years old. And even back then, I was like, I'm just like, wow, because I thought it was bullshit even back then, right? When I was seeing the whole thing. But it's something that a lot of people really kind of do believe. And what's kind of somewhat strange, right, Cyrus, is that there's no financial motive, right? So is it just a self-aggrandizement thing, or is it something where you actually do believe that this is something you're happening?
All the greatness of the ancestor lives on with that process. No?
I don't know,
Because it becomes like a godlike figure who comes back and advises.
Yeah.
He's like the patriarch in a sense, who's pushing and blessing you along.
The ancestor for us, right, was my grandfather's great-grandfather. Okay, and this person who came was a cousin who was distantly related, as in like 2 or 3 levels away, right? As in like his father's kid was brothers with, and like, the descendants parted at that point. And so I was really amazed that, and there was no money exchange. It's not like he was getting like any kind of, all he did was he came to the house that day. This was in the village or the small city that we come from. He came to the house that night in his own car. We gave him a place to sleep. He did this in the morning and he left in the afternoon. All he had was lunch and dinner, and that's it. So there was no financial exchange.
No later than. But there is one thing you guys haven't thought about. Where a ghost entering your body would be beneficial? In the bath. And I'll tell you why. Because there are areas you can't touch. You can't scrub yourself. Like the back of your lat area, for example. I've never been able to wash that part. I don't know anyone who can reach that part, for example. So it's not all bad news. I'm just saying, if you get a ghost, because now you're scaring people with your stories, and they enter your body, try and encourage them to come in the bath with you and use the positive side of the situation, which is more hands.
Ghosts cannot be around running water, right? That's also part of the ghost mythology.
You bring the ghost almanac out because you're making rules as we speak. And I feel it's spinning yarns around my head.
You don't understand how much of this nonsense I read, right? I read so much like kind of fantasy and science fiction, all that kind of stuff. And ghosts are all over the place, right? So ghosts cannot cross running water. The way you escape a ghost is by crossing a river. Ghosts cannot follow you.
Let's end this podcast with an erudite statement. What do you call a Bengali ghost? Ghosh.
Gosh.
God, we can't go lower than that. Silverie, happy birthday. Since we're not going to meet tomorrow. Anybody listening, please wish him tomorrow or on Monday. It is when we resume. 29, right? 29. Wow.
29, yes.
So for your generation, 5 years to go. Good. Chalo. See you, Papa.
Before we end, there are a lot of comments for Cyrus to be on Jose's Ghost Stories live stream.
Please ask him to pick up the phone. He's like a ghost himself. Jose, if you're listening, you can't be reached. We don't think you exist. There is no Jose.
Yeah.
It's all a lie. Yeah. We'll go. If he actually turns up and picks up the phone, we'll definitely go. Yeah. All right then.
But it's actually quite interesting. I've actually watched a few episodes. If you want,
as long as he does it in the morning, because nighttime I get scared. Yeah. Done. Happy birthday, Silverie.
I'll try and set it up.
Right.
I'll try and make it happen.
Okay, bye everybody.
Thank you so much. Yep.
Okay, catch us on any of the podcasting apps, please. We beg you, we need you. Send us your questions on Twitter on Cyrus Says In. Or you can email us, even if you're not female, on whatcyrussays@gmail.com.
Hi, I'm Zarina Poonawalla, host of the Empowering Series podcast on the IVM network. I happen to be a peak performance coach and leadership coach by profession, and I'm here to share with you productivity tools, life-altering techniques, and real-life hacks to help you achieve your maximum potential in everything you do, your relationships, professions, careers. So tune in every Monday to unleash your inner power. Be safe, be well, be empowered.
If you love cricket, listen up. The Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast is here for you. Hosted by DJ, Varun, and me, Ashwin, we bring a fun, fresh fan's point of view to talking all things cricket. Sometimes it's just the three of us, sometimes we have guests, including current and former international cricketers. For new episodes every week, check out the Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast on the IVM app, website, or wherever you get your podcasts.